Welcome back. Time now to go on the clock for the final time this season. Brought to you by Instaprint Plus, local printing that is insanely fast. Order today and pick up tomorrow. And they are all together on set once again. Jason Wilde, President, Chairman, CEO of Jason Wilde Inc., Rob Demoski, ESPN.com, Bill Huber from SI's Packers page, and of course, Sports Director Dave Schrader. All four of you at Matt LaFleur's season-ending press conference earlier this afternoon. Last night's gut punch, an epic playoff collapse. Did it change the narrative? Did it change the trajectory of the biggest decision looming over this franchise? And that's what happens to Matt LaFleur. What do you think?
I don't know.
That's what I was going to say.
Great. Thank you for watching.
See you next year.
Look, I could see it having a total impact, right? You lose the way they lost. How do you not factor that into your decision making? Right. On the flip side, look, I understand that every time I say, well, look at the injuries they dealt with, right, someone will say to me, well, look at the 49ers. Look at them, they're in the playoffs. Well, where were the 49ers last year when they also had a major injury problem? Sure. Great job by Kyle Shanahan this year. 5-12 last year. Right. It's not easy, especially when you lose the caliber of players. I know that's not an excuse. For me, it's an explanation. I think there's arguments to be made on both sides, which I think we're going to do later in the program.
You are going to make them.
100%. No, the only person that really knows is Ed Policy. And no offense to our fine viewers and our readers and the people who
has anyone ever said no offense and then it went well afterward?
But
I'm going to offend you.
But if they listened, they meaning the decision makers, listen to what the fans wanted, we'd have a new coach every 6 weeks, okay? Sure. I can only tell you this, that I talk to people in the league, I'm talking about coaches, scouts, ex-coaches, ex-scouts, and most of them would be stunned. They're like, really? You're going to fire the guy? But then there are a few who say, boy, you can't bring a guy back like that. So even people in the league who are paid to be involved in this and be part of these decisions, even they aren't sure what to do.
Yeah, that's right, Rob. You know, what we think doesn't matter. And it's always been true with athletes, we can never pretend to know what they think.
Correct.
Right? You think they're going to have a hangover from bad loss? No, they're not. They don't care. It's always on to the next one. We've never been in Ed Policy's shoes. He's known Matt LaFleur for LaFleur's entire tenure. You know, who knows what they're like behind the scenes, Dave?
Like Jason, I thought with all these injuries, they're just safe. And then we talked a couple weeks ago about what if they lose 5 in a row to end it. I didn't think they were going to lose 5 in a row to end it. I don't think yesterday changes the end decision. I just think it makes it really, really interesting because, gosh, was that a tough way to go out. A few weeks ago, I asked Matt after the first collapse, what's worse, collapsing or getting your butts kicked? I think collapsing's worse. I think this sort of thing feels worse to management, to the fan base, to everyone than saying, okay, we got outplayed, but we didn't have our horses. But having them dead to rights, 21-3 after 2, 21-6 after 3, that's tough.
Well, on the basis of this argument, what's worse is that it's happened again, right? All right, so let's do this. Let's make the case. We'll start with the case for Ed Policy, the reasons that he should make a change. Rob.
Well, if you don't think that Matt LaFleur is the guy to lead you to a Super Bowl, then you have to make a change. And I don't care about the argument, well, who are you going to get that's better? That is bullcrap. Because when they fired Mike McCarthy, they didn't know they were going to hire Matt LaFleur. They didn't know they were going to fire
Not many people knew Matt
LaFleur blew them away in the interview. So to say, well, if you fire him, are you going to get anybody better? The argument for making a change is that if you don't believe he's the guy, then you must make the change.
Bill?
Absolutely right, Rob. I've been telling people that on the tweeter all day long. Look, they
also wrote that today.
Well, I did.
You said it is time for a change.
It is, but you look at they were beating the Broncos handily. They lost. They were beating the Bears handily. They almost lost. I mean, we can go through the whole list of they just keep collapsing, and you just wonder when next season starts and they play the Bears in Week 1 or whatever. Is there a hangover there? So to Rob's point, if this guy's not good enough to win a Super Bowl, you're just spinning your wheels.
So the case to make a move is twofold. One, if you think he's lost the locker room, you don't think they listen to his message, it's growing stale. 2, you think he's getting out-coached by others in the division or around the league. And Matt LaFleur had all these great plays in the first half, but the adjustments in so many games this year have gone against Green Bay and to the other side. So if you think that is the case, either he's lost the locker room or he's getting out coached, those would be the reasons to make a move.
Bad execution on plays they teach and coach over and over again, is that losing the locker room? They're not listening? Curious.
There's a bunch of reasons why their execution is poor. I'm sure we'll get into that later. To Rob's point, you don't take the attitude of, well, we might not get anybody as good, right? I mean, who the heck was Mike Sherman when they hired him? Mike McCarthy presided over the worst offense in the league in 2005.
Right.
And Matt LaFleur may have been fired by Tennessee had he not gotten the Packers job.
Right.
So the guy, not the resume, necessarily matters. I personally think if they're going to move on, they should just bring Mike McCarthy back. He's back in town. But I do think this, in terms of moving on from him, to me the biggest thing is the way they've lost. I think there are explanations for it, but if you need a reason, that's the reason.
All right, let's go to the case for keeping him. Bill, which would be hard for you because you wrote today that they should get rid of him. It is time. You just said it is time.
It's not, though. He is 16th in NFL history in winning percentage. There's like 9 Hall of Famers ahead of him. He's won a lot of football games, like a lot of football games. And he gets to the playoffs almost every year. And if you have a chance, if you get in the dance, you have a shot. So that'd be the reason to keep him.
In Titletown, titles, fans want them to be birthrights, right? The playoffs have been a birthright with this guy. He hasn't missed the playoffs very often. Yes, they've expanded the field to 7 teams, but a guy who's going to get you in the playoffs and with healthy bodies is probably going to get you a lot further. I think it's all the reason to keep him. I also think when you look at the situation right now, the lack of first-round draft picks, the cap conundrum they're in, if you bring in new people, are you going to switch both jobs? What are those people going to have to work with? How fast can they turn the roster to their liking with the constraints that are on them? Are you going to dance with who brought you? And I think that's what you do. You keep Goody, you keep LaFleur.
Yeah, I think to Dave's point, they have built this team to make the playoffs and hope to get hot, right? That's Goody's philosophy. Until they traded for Micah Parsons, that was the approach. So this guy's the coach for that. By the way, we all sat inside Lambeau Field with our little masks on during training camp in 2020 during COVID, watching practice. And Jordan Love was not very good.
Right.
He wasn't very good in 21 either in camp. This guy has developed Jordan Love. He has developed Malik Willis into somebody who hadn't been before. He may be able to do it with Desmond Ridder next. My point is that he's got a lot of really redeeming qualities. Do not just fire him because the villagers are at the gates with the pitchforks.
Good point.
Huge risk because you might not be getting someone better.
Yeah.
And stability is important in organizations. I mean, the best organizations don't make rash decisions.
This one doesn't make rash decisions. Ray Rhodes, that's it.
Baltimore, had the same guy for a long time. Now they finally had come to the point where they felt they needed to make a decision, but it wasn't after 7 years. Pittsburgh, Mike Tomlin, same thing. And everyone who's clamoring for Jim Harbaugh, when's the last time he won anything? 2012, right? I think there's a case for being a stable franchise because it helps you attract other good coaches, other good players that know they're coming here into a quality organization.
All right, you mentioned Harbaugh there, John Harbaugh. In his first 5 years, he went to 3 AFC title games. They won one. That was the year they won the Super Bowl, which was in 2012. In the last 13 years, they've been to 1 AFC title game. So this discussion or talk about Harbaugh, it seems like you're just trading one thing for the other. They're basically the same, right? They're
They
just
also
going to the playoffs.
better be ready to move on from Goody, too, because I think there was a report from ESPN Cleveland that he wants his own GM and he wants to have more control over personnel.
Yeah, that's not
that doesn't
fair.
sound like an idea here either.
All right, well, that tees us up for this. Dave, we'll start with you on this. Structure, could this change? We've heard this floated around before. Mark Murphy put in the 3 guys, the rules.
silos.
So should the GM be in charge of the head coach? Do you see that changing around here? It doesn't sound like it if he's meeting with Ed Policy.
Yeah, I don't think it'll change. If you're Ed Policy, do you want to just do things the way they've always been done in Green Bay, or do you want to have a measure of control? And I would imagine that he wants that control. I don't understand why he would give that to Brian Gutekunst at this point. We're talking a lot about Matt LaFleur, and I like Brian as well, but he's got a lot of first-round draft picks. Rashawn Gary not showing a lot of effort at times. Jordan Morgan not fitting in yet. Maybe he'll be a great left tackle next year. I think that I want to maintain that measure of control.
I'm going to defer to Rob on this because I think he's had some reporting on it. I will just say this. If you're going to make that change in structure, I think you only do that with a new coach. I would not. If I'm Matt LaFleur, what would really tick me off is that I'm on the same organizational spot as he is until now you change the structure. That I wouldn't be okay with.
See, I think they are headed back toward that change eventually, whether it's now or a little bit down the road. I think Ed Policy is, from what I can gather, is open and actually would like to make that change. The question is, okay, let's say you decide to do that with Goody. Do you then say, okay, Brian, I'm going to give you, and I'll have to do a new contract because it's written into his contract that he does not have authority over the coach. So do you say, Brian, I'm going to give you the authority and it's your decision on the coach? Or am I going to say, you know what, we're going to hire Matt and we're going to give you an extension and then from now on, you have
Yeah.
the authority over him. That part is tricky because if I'm Goody and I get that power, I would want to know, okay, can I get rid of the head coach next year if I want to? So I do think there's some logistics to work out there. I do think eventually, whether it's this offseason or coming up in some point in the future, near future, I think it will go back to the old structure.
Bill?
So Rob, what's that going to do? I mean, there's already sledding hill. Is it going to put up like a climbing wall? I mean, if the team president's not going to
There's
have
one down the street. I don't
much
think
say
that'll work.
on football, so I mean, it is interesting.
But forever, Bill, Bob
Right.
Harlan operated that I'm going to hire a general manager and he's going to
Yeah.
control all football. There's plenty to do for the
Yeah.
president. It's also a bit of a figurehead, or has been, as I drop my mic, a bit of a figurehead over the years, and it's an important figurehead. This is the last
So
show.
is that,
so
by
if
the
this
way.
thing breaks,
That's an important
if
piece.
this thing breaks, then we have no more shows to do anyway.
All right, we're going to skip on past what I heard, go into ad libs. We've got to do this quickly here, right on down the line. Jeff Hafley will be coaching the blank next season. We've got 5 interviews lined up that we know of as of now.
The Green Bay Packers defense.
Coaching against the Packers at some point.
Miami Dolphins.
Packers defense.
Rashawn Gary will be playing blank next season. Last 10 games, no sacks, no tackles for loss.
Someone other than the Green Bay Packers.
Ping pong?
Yeah, not here.
Playing backup for another team.
Elsewhere. All right, Quay Walker will be playing blank next season, the leading tackler on this defense.
Sure feels like elsewhere.
I'm going to say here, but I don't feel great about it.
Yeah, I think they have too many cap problems to keep him.
I think they want him here, or I think he'd like to be here. I don't know if it works.
All right, blank must be kept at all costs.
I'm not sure there's anyone on the
That
list
qualifies?
that
Okay.
qualifies for that.
The Packers' streak of making the playoffs must be kept intact, or next year there's going to be big trouble.
I'd say Anagabari maybe if you're going to get rid of Rashawn Gary and Parsons is hurt.
Okay, good.
There's so many.
Pass.
I would say Romeo, but they don't have the
I
money.
do not. All right, we all heard it. Matt LaFleur says he didn't. Ben Johnson's locker room speech last night, colorful language directed at the Packers. It was blank.
He seems nice, doesn't he?
I mean, it was great in the moment, but it's going to come back to bite him at some point, right?
I think it's fantastic, especially for that fan base, and that he's so fired up. You kind of wish that maybe the leadership here was that emotional about things.
It is feeding the rivalry and makes it just more fun. I love it.
Yeah.
It was something that will play on repeat in those TV monitors in the Packers locker room. Gentlemen, thanks so much for a great season. We appreciate your insight, your knowledge, if not your technical expertise there, Rob. We'll be right back.